I'm coming on a little bit early just to say hello and see what's going on with everyone. All right, let me put it on live chat. Perfect. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone tonight? Happy Saturday. I hope you're all having a fantastic, fabulous, fabulicious, fantastico week. I know most of those weren't words, but that's okay. I'm so glad. I keep going back and forth as to whether I want to do more than one video a week for this stuff. I hope that one a week is enough to kind of check in with everyone. I don't know. I'm back and forth. I'm kind of going back and forth, trying to figure out if we're okay without checking in. We'll see as we get deeper into it. You guys might want another video just to kind of check into everyone, with everyone to say, hey, I've been experiencing this, and is this normal? And any suggestions? And we'll see. Let me know if you start to feel like we need more than one video. A midweek check-in, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I may do that, which means I won't, for a midweek check-in, I don't know if I will, like, plan a whole lesson plan, but we'll kind of say, okay, how's everyone doing? Does anybody have questions? Has anybody run into something that, that you're not sure how to handle? Reminders of affirmations. Make sure you're still doing your affirmations and stuff. So it sounds like that might be a good idea. Because I know, don't think for a minute that anyone says that shadow work is easy. Shadow work is not an easy thing. And everyone who has gone through shadow work, who has done shadow work, can tell you that. Nobody starts shadow work and says, oh, well, that was simple. Now what? It is not an easy thing. So, at least you'll know that, you are in good company. Shadow work is kicking my ass. Yeah, me too. And again, don't ever think everyone has more shadow work to do. There's nobody that has conquered it. Even the great philosophers and psychologists and psychiatrists and teachers that I ascribe to, that I look into, that I read, that all of them still have shadow work to do too. So it is, nobody has conquered their shadow, and nobody has beat it and said, oh, good, that's it. Yes, shadow work is kicking my ass too. I start therapy this week. I think it's great to go with perfect. That's perfect. And that is very good. And I will say, I'm going to say probably at the beginning of every video, make sure that when you are doing this, when you are actively engaged in shadow work, that you are keeping up with your affirmations. I have to say that is probably the number one thing, is to keep up with your affirmations. Be good to yourself. Give yourself a break. Know that it's okay to be nice to yourself. It's okay to make some mistakes and say, you know what, it's okay, because I'm going through shadow work. Hi, Deb. How is your mom, sweetheart? She's still transitioning? I've been really thinking about you. You've been on my mind lately. It is okay. It is all okay. Be good to yourself. Turns out I've been doing shadow work the last year, but without the affirmations and self-kindness. Oh, Emma, that's terrible. I have a problem with affirmations. I know you do, Stephen. I know. Your mom passed this morning. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. A big hug. I have been sending energy for a couple days now. I've been thinking about you, so I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm kind of scared to start shadow work. I'm afraid it will take me to a dark place. And because you're aware of that, you can know that that you have to be good to yourself, that you have to give yourself a break, that you have to be overly nice to yourself. And one of the most important things is your nutrition and your hydration. This is a weird thing to say in the midst of all this, and I'm going to say this to you too, Deb. This is such an odd time for me to say this, but make sure you're drinking enough. And I know you know this, but especially when we lose someone or when we're going through a really hard time, we tend to take care of everybody else first. And we kind of forget to take care of ourselves. So, Deb, make sure you're drinking enough fluids, at least. You might not feel like eating yet, but drink plenty of fluids to keep up your strength. It is hard on the body. Yes, grieving is very hard on the body, as is shadow work, for sure. Is shadow work a good time to use Shokure and Seiheki? Yes. Oh, the Reiki. Yes, the Reiki symbols. Definitely. Keep Chokure and Seiheki, and we'll learn. Chokure has a big part of what we're doing, what we're kind of learning about today is because Shokure is the power symbol. So you would say 24 hours of overtime is good for a person, right? Yeah, not so much, Danny. Especially when I know you've been going through stuff too. Hi, Jess. I was doing a 30-day shadow work thing that another YouTuber had posted, but there was nothing about affirmations. Really? Well, if it works for you, it works. I'll be very careful to say if that works for some people, that's great. But I'm sorry. I have to say that especially when doing shadow work is such a hard time on yourself. Hello, Dana, my love. Hi, sweetheart. Shadow work is you're kind of putting your psyche and your emotions and your inner being through a lot of trauma by putting light in areas that haven't had light for a long time. And so for me, affirmations is one of the most important things, because boy, trying to get through shadow work when you're not building yourself up at the same time, that would be really tough. Shoot, I jumped. Sorry. I've been using my tarot to write down every morning. It is challenging. Yes, I guess I was doing it wrong. There is no wrong way. But if it's too hard for you, then that is the wrong way. If you get to the point where you feel like, fuck this shit, I can't do this shit because I'm killing myself, that's the wrong way. There's something not right. It is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, but it shouldn't be to the point where you're like, how am I supposed to do this? Don't do that. I'm glad, Deb. I hope so, honey. If you need us, you just let us know. You know we're here to give you a hug. We don't want to do all that shadow work and have the conclusion be, I guess I suck. Yes, right? Exactly. Shadow work is just too hard to do without, doing something uplifting for yourself too. I usually say if you enjoy baths and stuff, do a bath a week or a couple baths a week. If you make sure you're going outside and reconnecting with nature, if that's something that you like to do. Give yourself extra breaks. If you have a day off and sometimes you like to escape into a video game, do that for a little while. Now, don't do that for hours and hours and hours and hours. Sometimes we can escape and that means we're not working on what we're supposed to be working on. We're kind of ignoring. But escape is okay. It's okay to shut down for a little while and escape so that you're not involved in that hard work all the time. It's okay. I have been, giving myself some extra breaks. Peter and I have been taking naps in the afternoon sometimes. Your body needs to take a break sometimes. Make your own bath bombs. Yes. Essential oils could be a huge part of this. That's why I've been doing lots of shadowwork candles and essential oils. I did make a shadowwork blend. There's a lot of things you can do. And the shadowwork stuff that you have should be to empower yourself. I did not realize how tough I was being on myself when reading cards every day until I decided to make every interpretation positive and affirming. I read that, Emma, and I thought, yeah, it's funny how, especially when we read for ourselves, we're a lot harder on ourselves. We kind of look at it and go, oh, this is what I should be doing. I know, and Tarot's going to kick me in the ass for it and stuff. So it's a good thing maybe to look at the positive side of the card and say, okay, what good thing can this be telling me? That's a very good thing. Very good. So we looked at last week, we were going to look at the first 2 pages of our journal, if you have it, and if not, we're just giving you the prompts. So the first question here was, what events from my past have hurt me? And after I did the first page, I'll be honest with you, the first page I went through, and then when I got to the second page, I realized that the bottom of this is supposed to be daily. So this, the top is for our shadow work learning, and then the bottom is like a daily prompt to say, appreciate 3 things about yourself in your life. This is like every day. And when I looked at that, by the time I got to the second page, I thought, oh, we're supposed to name like 3 different things every day. Damn. That's really not easy for most of us. Most of us, by the time we get through a week, are going to run out and go, I don't know. I don't have anything else that I appreciate about myself or my life, right? So it really gets us to dig deep and to appreciate some of the little things. So every day we should be taking a moment to say, wow, you know what? Everything that we say should be some kind of affirmation, some kind of thing that you appreciate about yourself and your life. That can be big things or little things. So I started out with big things, and I'm going to read some of, just so you can see where we're at. Most of you know that I'm pretty open about, things in my life. And so I'm going to read some of what I have said. And then, hopefully that will spark some discussion, and then we're going to get into some of the new parts. So the first question was, what events have hurt me? So I started out, and you'll see that I have this little paragraph here. And it's not that I didn't have so much, it's that I didn't know how much detail I should go into. You kind of think, well, how much do you really want to hear on this? But it's, to ourselves. So you can be as detailed or as non-detailed as you want. You know the answers. So what I put was my childhood traumas. My dad's arrest. So when I was young, very young, I think I can remember swinging on the playground set when I found out. I believe I was in the 3rd grade. So however old you are when you're in the 3rd grade. It would have put me about, 8? Something like that. When I was 8 years old, I remember getting home from school and my mother telling me first, I don't know if she remembers this or not, but my mother telling me that my father had been in a motorcycle accident. And I thought, is there an ODF? Oh, PDF, we can't get the book. There isn't a PDF. It's a fairly new book, but I'm going to read the prompts for next week. every week so that you have the prompts for next week every week, okay? So the first one was, what events from my past have hurt me? So my mother first told me that my father got into a motorcycle accident. And I think later on she said, well, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to tell you because I was like 8. And I remember being super upset and afraid that my father was going to die. Hi, Sarana. And swinging on the swings in the playground and crying. And then my aunt calling me inside. And when I came inside, my mom said, well, actually, your dad was arrested. And I didn't understand until much, 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 much later what it was all about. But it was my father had been, I think he was, now mind you, this was the 70s. That's about how old I am. My father had been, I think, selling pot at first. And one of his friends had set him up to sell cocaine to a cop. And so he got arrested. And in the 70s, late 70s, that was a very big, mid 70s. So if I figure I was 8. So it was probably, late 70s, 1979, 1980. It was a very big deal. It was a very big deal. And I remember going through the trial. On and off, I remember going through the trial. I remember, like having to get dressed up, and I think they wanted his children to be there to like show him as a family man, and having to be in court and be quiet and little stuff like that. And I remember that he was facing like 25 to life. I do remember that. I remember the threat was that we may never see him again. Like that bad. It was a huge deal. And I'm not certain. I know we went through 2 different trials. The first trial was where the jury couldn't come to a conclusion. The first trial was a mistrial. And I'm not sure why. I don't know why I haven't really asked about details since being an adult. I'm not sure. But then we had to go through a whole nother trial again. And at the second trial, it was a mistrial again, and they decided not to retry him. So fine, but it took years of my life, like 3-4 years to get through all of that. And that was about when I was 8 or so. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have a whole lot of childhood memories besides that. And so I know that affected me, in a big, huge way. And I'm sure it was hard at that age. I don't really remember, and it sounds funny, but I don't really remember a whole lot of my childhood besides that. Like before that, I have almost no recollections. If somebody says something to me, like, don't you remember something, I kind of remember, but sometimes I think I remember because I've heard the stories before. Like I can't see an image. And a lot of my memories, like from teenage on, I can see, like I can close my eyes and picture the whole scene and stuff. But before that, I can picture somebody telling me about it, but I don't think I really have memories from before that age. I think my mind just went, poof, they're all gone. So I know that was an event from my past that hurt me. It must have been, because as far as I can recall, I don't have a whole lot of childhood memories since then. Now, again, I say these not because I want you to go, oh, poor Jen. It's okay. I'm an adult now. I got through it. But I want you to see that became part of my shadow work. There are things that trigger me now, probably, that I know have come from that because I buried something, because I ignored something, because I did not deal with something, because I shoved that away so I wouldn't be hurt by it. So there's things that are going to come up, and that's why I share what I share. There's things that are going to come up that have to do with that, because that's something from my past that I know was a traumatic event that hurt me, obviously. The incident I referred to earlier was at the age of 7 or 8. Trauma does that. I know other people who dealt with things as a child, then blocked most of childhood memories. Absolutely. My personal, hold on. It's funny, the delay, I have to wait for the delay. My personal medical trauma was age 6. I relate to having memory fucked with from that. Absolutely. Like it's just gone. I just don't remember. So that was one of those things. My parents divorced. My parents divorced when I was 16. That was at 16, it didn't seem like a big deal because my parents fought all the time. They didn't get along. My dad, I love my dad now, and I loved him then. I love my mom now. I loved her then. But they were very incompatible. My dad was very much kind of a child, and I love him now. I just kind of accept him. That's who he is. But he was not a huge responsibility kind of person. And my mom, because of that, was not there a whole lot. She was at work a lot. When I do remember her around, she was kind of asleep on the couch because she worked nights a lot and stuff. So I don't have a lot of great memories from my childhood from them, like being together and that kind of thing, because that's what I remember, You're welcome. So that's another thing that probably hurt me, my parents' divorce. And their relationship. Then trying to see Peter's awful quiet in there. Then Peter's arrest, which we have talked about before. And that was a very hard time in my life. It made me think that people were not going to be there for me. I had to, it also, though, helped me in ways. It made me realize that I could be self-sufficient. It was not easy to get to that point. For a long time, I thought, how the hell am I supposed to get through life if life keeps knocking you down, right? But there's things like that affect us. The boys, my older 2 boys, were abused, sexually abused. And I've told that story before. That was a huge thing from my past that hurt me. And again, all the reason we're bringing these up, my mother's betrayal of trying to take my children from me, for goodness, it had to be a good, I think it was 6 months that my mother tried to take my children from me. I don't know if I've told that story before, and I will someday, but I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on that. We've already gone 20 minutes. All of this stuff, though, all of this stuff that I've listed, that created a shadow in me. It's almost like a fold. So you hide stuff. It made you the bad bitch that you are. Exactly. You hide stuff. You fold that over. You do whatever you have to do to deal with it at the time with the tools that you have. And it creates a shadow. Now that we are aware and alert and spiritually active and wanting to become our better selves, our spiritual selves, the self that when we close our eyes and think of the me I know I can be, the absolute potential of who I am, the best version of myself. I know that there are things that I have put into shadow that I can now shine a light on. And I can maybe change some of the behaviors and some of the things that have happened to me, or that some of the behaviors that I react to other people and other situations because of shadows that I have denied myself feeling, looking at, understanding where that pain comes from and why it's there. Mama proves to us that we are all in a safe space. That's right. You're welcome to be your true self. That we don't just love you when things are going good. We love all of you. And I love all of you. I love all of you, even when you piss me off, even when I piss you off, even when you're not the perfect person, even when I know you see me as not the perfect person. It's super hard. One of the hardest things to do is to say to someone, ooh, you saw me and I wasn't at my best. I'm sorry. Here's my vulnerability. I'm vulnerable. I apologize. I own it. I feel it. And I'm sorry. And I'll tell you an example that happened today. Pookie. Pookie is on here. And I won't tell you his part because I kind of didn't get, yes, our conversation this morning. I had hurt Pookie by not acknowledging, because my squirrel brain, and again, I don't want to gloss over it and say that it was okay, but my squirrel brain, I have a real hard time with organizational stuff, and I have to do better. But I hurt him in a way that I never would have meant to hurt him. And so he came to me. I'm so glad and grateful that he was able to come to me and say, wow, you really pissed me off. And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. And so because I have been doing shadow work, I was able to say, I am a jerk. And that's my first reaction. Now notice, here I am. Do your affirmations. Do your affirmations. My first reaction was to type, I'm such a jerk. And then I thought, nope, back up. Because shadow work does not say you should point at yourself and say, what a fucking idiot. You're not worth anything. Sometimes that's our reaction though, right? Our first reaction is, I'm such an asshole. How could I do that? Let's beat myself up some more for this. I'm a fucking jerk. That's our first reaction to a lot of things, but that's not what shadow work is. Instead, it is opening up ourselves and saying, I screwed up. I'm sorry. And so what I said was, I'm sorry. This is what I think probably happened. My squirrel brain happened, but that's not an excuse. I just want to say to you, I am sorry. I did not mean to hurt you. My intention was not to hurt you like that. And I apologize, and I'm going to try to do better. And this is what I'm going to do from here on forward to try to fix it. Period. Done. And I have not gone back and said, Jen, I'm such a jerk. How could I not have done this thing? Jen, I can't believe you forgot this thing. Okay? That becomes important. Realizing that, I see a shadow that I dislike. And it's very hard not to react to that shadow with push you away so you can't see my vulnerability. That's sometimes our first reaction is, oh no, they saw this open piece of me. Right? Sometimes we just want to go, if you think I'm a jerk, maybe you won't notice that I'm a jerk. Okay? That's the first part of it. And you have, yes, exactly, I know. Expressing my feelings is part of my shadow work. Good, Danny, then I'm so glad that you were able to do that. I'm wondering if anyone else noticed that for many of the events they wrote down, the person was not actively trying to hurt me, but you were acting from their own undealt with shadows. Yes. Like when you said how great 2012 was, and I said that was the year my mom died. Yes, Stephen, yes. And I was like, oh, gosh, I'm an asshole. Yes, just like that. Okay, so, then it goes on to, let's continue, because we have so much to get to. Heck, even when you delay, where is that? Even when you haven't opened up, I've seen you past your BS. Good luck hiding. I know, you're really good at that, Pookie. We grow more when we acknowledge our faults. It's hard to do. That's true. It is hard to do, but accepting that we did something that hurt someone else is the first step in growth. That's true. And acknowledging it without guilt, without judgment. That's going to become the important part. Acknowledging our fault without judgment. Underline that. Okay? Okay, then appreciate 3 things about yourself. I'm a great teacher. I love my spiritual best self potential. I know my heart is good. Any triggers today? And then I started into triggers like that I have all the time. Okay? Thank you, Pookie. You know I love you. The second question was, when I'm most uncomfortable, I handle it by doing this. So what is that for you? For me, it's sometimes I lash out trying to hurt someone, so they're distanced, they're distracted, they can't see my weakness. If I lash out, la la la, I make a lot of noise over here. Most people don't see that except my immediate family. See that lashing out. I can get super fucking mean. I've talked about this before, but most of people, my immediate family are the only ones who have seen that super fucking mean thing. But because that's when you're most vulnerable, right? So when you're most vulnerable with the people who know you intimately, you feel like, oh no, I have to distract them. Yes. You have 33 minutes left. Yes, I'm so good at judging myself. No judgment. So I distract. I point out their weaknesses so my cracked armor can hide again. I can cover it back up, right? I get super quiet and withdrawn to the point of disappearing. Sometimes I do that. I get super quiet. I'm like, maybe if I just disappear, they won't notice that my armor has cracked and I am vulnerable. Or I am passive aggressive, so I don't feel vulnerable. I'm super, super sarcastic and passive aggressive. And there are people who see that. And so that hides my vulnerability, hides my pain. I won't feel pain as long as I can make fun of it and be this passive aggressive. Yeah. Doesn't work very well usually, but I do try it. Okay. Now for next week, this is the first part. We're going to do the next 2. The next 2 questions are, I am most judgmental about and why. Because I am most judgmental about and because. And what do I want to heal from? What do I want to heal from? Because part of looking at our shadows is deciding if we can let those shadows go. There's 3 things we can do with those shadows. And I'm going to go through this super, super quick because we have so much to get to. The first is when we dig out that shadow, we shine light in it and we go, oh, look, here it is. Here's this vulnerability. Here's this shadow that I hid. I acknowledge it. I accept that I have this shadow. I can do 3 things. I can look at it and say, I still need it. I'm not ready to give this up. This is still protecting me from something that I'm not ready to deal with. And that's okay. No judgment. If you still need that shadow, if you still need that thing, you still need to protect yourself from something that this is protecting yourself from, then you can put it back in the darkness and know that you've done a good job. You brought that into the light and now you know it's there. And so what happens usually is when it comes up again, you're like, oh, I recognize you. I put you back there because I still need that protection, but I might not need you forever. At least you know what that shadow is there for. Okay. Number 2 is you can look at it and say, okay, I think I'm ready to start dealing with this pain, to start figuring out what it is that I was protecting myself from and why I react this way And I think that with some work, I may be able to really pull this into the light and leave it into the light. Can you be general like I want to heal from any trauma? No, nope. You need to do it separate, honey, because each thing is from a separate event. Each fold, each shadow is there for a different reason. So it has to be pretty specific. You don't have to deal with all your shadow work at once. Let me say that. Do not say, I'm going to deal with all my shadow work at once. You won't be able to do that. None of us can do that. But you can pick out a few that really are bothering you. If you, when I had my kids at home and stuff, a lot of my shadows were I yelled at the kids too much. And I really wanted to figure out why I yelled at the kids, like screamed at the children, and what it was behind that. And so there's, certain things that you can pick out. I'm going to try to work on this. Okay, so you can put it back in, say you need that shadow. You can bring it to the light and say, I'm going to start to work on this. I don't know if I'll accomplish it. I don't know if I'll fully bring it to the light, but I'm going to start to work on it. I'm going to start to recognize it. I'm going to know that this is a trigger. I'm going to work on this for a while. Number 3 is you pull it out. It comes into the light and you say, oh, I remember this. This was something from my past. Something from my past that I'm still allowing it to trigger me. I'm still allowing it to have an effect on what I do today. But you know what? I don't need this. This is not really my shadow anymore. This is just habit. This is just, I have allowed this shadow to become a part of me, and it's really not anymore. I'm going to pull it completely into the light. As a matter of fact, I'm going to set it down because it's really not mine anymore. So if this shadow comes up again, I'm going to say, wait a second. Hold on. This isn't me anymore. I'm reacting to something that was in the past that I'm not vulnerable to anymore, and I don't have to do that anymore. Oh, yeah. That's not mine anymore. I don't need that anymore. So that's a third thing. You can bring it into the light and set it down. It's not ours anymore. Okay. 3 things. Does that also count if it's an everyday shadow you have to deal with because you live with the person? Yes. Yes, it does. Yes. Gonna need a bigger notebook. Oh, I know, right? Shadow work doesn't always have to happen during the dark part of the year. You can always take it in stages or by seasons. Absolutely. For sure. Okay. So my Tarot for Troubled Times. I went to the second chapter of it. So many good things in this book. I'm going to end up like highlighting a lot of this book, I can see. And I know some of you OCD people are going, highlighting. Oh, yes. I have written in it. I highlight. This is my book. Just saying. Okay. So the second chapter is called Shadow Dancing, Get Out of Limbo and Into Your Magic, okay? And what it's talking about is really being able to sit with your shadow, to dance in the darkness, to accept your shadows for what they are, to look at Book Monster, to look at the dark things that we hide and say, I love you too. It's okay. Some people, when they get into the shadows, when they fear, when they feel pain, they stop. They stop moving. Because remember I said sometimes I withdraw and I get very quiet. They stop moving and they think if I just don't move, nobody will notice me. And this shadow will just disappear. What we want to do is learn to dance in the dark. We want to continue to move even if we're not sure where the shadow is coming from. We want to accept it and evaluate it and keep moving forward. Okay, so let's talk about it. We are talking about being in the present moment with whatever is before us, around us, and most importantly, within us. This includes all of our dreams, desires, fears, and screw-ups. All of our screw-ups. You cannot heal the pain or create the dream if you cannot be in the moment with every part of yourself as it is right now, as it is. You cannot be in the moment with every part of yourself as it is. That means you cannot heal from the pain or create your dream. So, this is not an easy thing. I talk about this a lot, being in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle, he is one that, he is a philosopher that has taught me the most probably in my life about being in the present moment. He says, accept, then act. Whatever this present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. That is not easy. Whatever is going on today, when that thing comes into your life, when the person comes in and starts screaming, when something happens that you're about to be triggered, if you can take a tiny step back and go, take a second. Okay, I'm accepting this. Because you know what? All pain, all fear, all anger, all of the things that create our shadows, they are created when we do not accept what is. Period. All of them. Every single one. Every one. Every time. I have a tattoo. I don't know if I can do this. I have a tattoo. See the tree of life with the Triskel. My tattoo says, embrace the place where life happens. Embrace the place where life happens. That is another Eckhart Tolle quote. And that is specifically for that purpose. That is so that every time I see that, I can think, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Embracing this moment right here, this moment right now. Whatever is going on, accepting that this is what is. When we try to fight against it, that's when we create a shadow. That's when we decide, no, wait, this is not what I wanted. How dare, our ego kicks in sometimes, how dare they? How dare you try to tell me what to do? How dare you put me in that situation? How dare, whatever it is, we are not accepting this moment for what it is. Jordan's shadow work journal is called her Peter Pan book because in the story, the shadow keeps trying to stick to him. Aw, she's amazing. I love that girl. She's also got a tattoo of my name on her butt cheek, or does she? You'll never know. I love you. I love you. Okay, so the first step to this is just accepting, being able to accept all of ourselves, all of that darkness, all of that as part of ourselves and loving it as part of ourselves. Like a velvet cloak. If we focus only on the surface or the stuff that feels comfortable, our healing journey can only go so far. We must confront those fears, emotions, weaknesses, and inner conflicts within ourselves if we wish to experience deep healing. We must come face to face with the shadow, the parts of ourselves that are deeply wounded. Disconnecting from your empowering energy, the shadow grows stronger and thrives on your pain. We don't want that. Okay, so here we go. In your intimate moments of inner voyage, you can hear your spirit whisper, are you ready to be empowered? Here we go. This is the key right here. Ready? Are y'all paying attention? Self-empowerment is a beautiful concept. Finding an inner well of truth that can forever nourish you on the ride of life through the good, the bad. Empowerment is your wild sibling, reminding you of your innate strengths and talents. She shows you around. She shows you how to hold space rather than dominate. Do you all know what holding space is? It's taking that breath. It's taking the breath to say, okay, what am I really looking at here? Let me just wait and allow this to be for a second so I can pay attention and ask it what it's doing here. What does it want? You can be a force for good in the world when you stand in the circle of your personal empowerment. Stop trying to explain yourself or bring people over to your side. You have nothing to prove to anyone else. Just be you. Stop trying to prove how good you are, how kind you are, how smart you are to anyone else. Just be. When we are able to let that go. Now, is that easy? Hell no, that's not easy. That's why we're doing this. In a material world bent on power, we have confused personal strength with domination over our perceived opponents. This attempt to segregate, control, and draw lines in the sand has bred so much fear. But there's another way of being. Relinquish the need to dominate what is outside of you and learn to ride the tide of your personal power from within. The battle is the internal struggle. If you can take in the messy parts just as much as you can embrace the awesome, then you can begin to create magic in your life. When we feel contempt for an experience, when something comes in that starts to hurt us, right? So someone says something, someone is not the perfect person to us, and we feel that pain. We feel slighted. We feel hurt. We feel however it affects us. We cut ourselves off from that experience. We cut ourselves off from the opportunity that experience is trying to give us to grow and thrive and become aligned. So we often miss the message encoded within our pain. Pain is our reminder to pay attention. If we suddenly feel pain, we should go, okay, wait a second. What is this? What is it that I'm supposed to be getting from this experience? Hold on a second. Let me not lash out because I'm feeling some type of way, because I'm feeling something that is uncomfortable. I don't like to feel uncomfortable. So let me lash out. Instead, take a moment and say, okay, wait. I'm feeling this pain. Why? Why am I feeling this pain? What is this? It is a deep call from your spirit to return to wellness. Something is off. Something is off. It's not quite right. Something we're not accepting. What is it that we're not accepting right now? Your shadow holds your pain and fear. Fear is a sign that you are in the cycle of change. That's a good thing. Opposition will only create deeper fragmentation. You're leeching your power away every time you step out of the present moment where the hurt and the beauty live. Don't step out of it. Don't allow yourself to back that pain up. Sit in it for a moment. Pain is part of life. It's okay to feel pain. We feel vulnerable. And so we go, ooh, I don't want this. You can hurt me now. So I'm going to lash out. I'm going to do something so that I close myself off and I stop feeling this pain, right? And very often that means we're missing something. We're missing something that we're supposed to be learning from this experience because we have pushed that away. Instead, we have to sit in it for a minute. You know you are going undergoing some interstellar transformation when you acknowledge your pain and face your fear. Each moment and in each experience, you encounter a central question. It delves into what you will accept, how you will feel, what you will choose to think. It explores your needs, desires, and who you are becoming. It looks directly at where you are wounded. And this question is, what empowers you? That's what we're asking. Every time we feel that pain, every time we feel that fear, every time we feel something that is uncomfortable, we should be stopping and saying, okay, hold on. What is empowering you? To the fear, to the pain. What is empowering you? Where is this coming from? What part of me is this painful experience validating? What is my fear trying to show me? On some level, you've conjured this unique experience where pain, fear, and healing all move together. When something hurts, we're begging for change and an opportunity to grow. Wounds can validate us and reveal how much progress we've made. Do you want to take the leap into transformation? Slip into the dance. Take your shadow by the hand. Let the story unravel. You are the creator of your story. You and only you are the creator of your story, not just the character in it. If you can be present and honest with yourself, the song will change, the story will shift, and the magic will happen. So it's how we are reacting to this. Befriending your shadow gives you your life back in your hands. She only feels limiting because she holds the parts of you that have been ignored for so long. That's why it feels limiting. Rather than let your shadow well up inside and come out as a reaction, you can find stillness and silence within. Retreat into a space where you can ask the questions that give you back your power, which are, what does your shadow look like? Is it big and scary? Or is it tight and constricted? A little fist that leaves no room for the light? Where do you feel aggravated by others? Is there a quality you yourself have that you recognize? What are your shadow beliefs? What are the parts of yourself that bring you shame when you think about them? What are you regressing or rejecting? What are you covering up with woo-woo metaphysical babble? That's a tough one for me sometimes. Always go deeper and ask why. The tarot card that I'm going to be pulling out today now. Last week's tarot card was the Fool. This week, the tarot card that I'm going to be pulling out is the Tower. The Tower. And we're going to study the Tower this week. And we are going to continue. Now, the Fool is still going to stay here. At the end of this, it's going to be a journey. The tarot cards are going to show us the journey that we have taken. So this was, okay, we're kind of naive on this journey. We're beginning the journey. What are we packing in here? What are we packing in our little knapsack? What are we bringing with us? What do we need? This week is the Tower. The Tower talks about cycles of life, the ups and downs of life. What we're going to look at the most with this Tower is the foundation. What has built our foundation of our Tower? Is our foundation secure? If we feel like stuff is constantly toppling us, is that because we didn't work enough on the foundation? What do we need to build up down here so that when every little thing happens, it doesn't topple from the top? Okay, so what is our foundation made of? What can we put on that foundation to help us? You may fear the darkness, but what if you learn to touch it? You feel strong when you keep your composure during hard times. You sigh with relief when you push through your anger. fists and jaw clenched as if you're bracing yourself through an earthquake. It's easy to avoid what feels terrifying, to avoid the unknown. But why do you fear your darkness? When did feeling become bad? Did someone tell you that the dark is bad? Were you spooked as a child by things that went bump in the night or the boogeyman that lives under the bed? What are your shadow beliefs? They may include thoughts as, now here's our shadow beliefs. A lot of us have a lot of these beliefs. I don't matter. So when we're starting to feel pain, it's because, and we lash out, we can say a million of these things. I don't matter. So why am I feeling like I have a right to stand up? I don't matter. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough, so it's okay if this person is stepping on me. I'm not enough. It's okay if I don't stand up for myself and I don't feel empowered. I'm not enough. No one cares, so why should I bother? No one cares, so why should I bother? Everyone else must come first. The caregivers in us will recognize that as, oh, before I can be comfortable, everybody else has to come first. I wish I could be someone else. I wish I could be someone else. How did I get stuck being me? I wish I could be them. Why do they get all the attention and not me? I can't forgive myself. Or I can't forgive them. This fact, the fact that I can't forgive myself or I can't forgive them, this makes me a bad person. Whew, tough, right? Nobody said this was going to be easy. Do not judge yourself for having these feelings. Just pay attention to how you feel and ask yourself without shame or blame, what's behind this? Why? Why am I feeling this? What is behind this? Try not to react. Take a moment. Take a moment to take a step back and say, okay, somewhere, something, I'm not accepting something here. What is it? What is it that I'm not accepting? And by accepting it, can I take back my power? My own personal empowerment. It's not about the power you have with someone else. It's about your own. Slipping out of awareness and balance is something that society has programmed us to do so well. Put your nose to the grindstone. Get to work. Be seen and not heard. Shut up and don't ask questions. Never cause a rift. Be normal. Do as you're told. Work and then die. On and on goes a fierce pursuit to distance our spirit from our waking life. No wonder most of us walk around unhealthy, unhappy, and confused. This is not some kind of blame game or a declaration of martyrdom, which is the other side. I'm so wounded. You've hurt me so bad. Now what will I do? We are speaking from personal experience and the countless stories of so many people, but this status quo can be changed when you decide to face your fears and take back your power. Give yourself a big hug and kiss. Throw a little tantrum on the floor. Break something if you need to. Call into work. Cancel your plans. Cry your eyes out. Eat a big vat of ice cream. Own your own darkness. Own it. It's yours. Don't put it down. It is your darkness. Live in it. Sit in it. Be in it. If you need to be in your darkness, be in it for a while. It's uncomfortable. We have to be uncomfortable. We have to live. We have to love the fact that we're able to sometimes sit in our uncomfort and live it. We can't push away every uncomfort that comes at us because that is the reaction. Oh, that's uncomfortable. I don't want to deal with it. And then we fold that over and create another shadow. So the first thing in order to start unpacking our shadows is to learn how not to make another one. Live in this moment, accept this moment as if you had chosen it, no matter what the hell is going on, what is trying to come at you. Take a breath and learn to ask it, okay, why am I suddenly feeling pain, fear, anger, hurt? What is this? Is this because my ego is saying, whew, how dare they? Is this because I have secret fears that I might not be good enough? And now, holy shit, they're looking at it and saying, are they saying I might not be good enough? If they say that, and I'm thinking it, but not saying it out loud, it must be true. I'm not good enough. If you think someone is saying that to you, your reaction should be take a breath. It might not have anything to do with you. Don't forget that part of it. We have to accept that other people are living their own little lives and they don't know everything that goes on behind our skin here. Sometimes they're going through shadow work. They're going through a really hard time. They have felt a pain and suddenly, for whatever reason, they're telling us they're in pain. And if that puts us into pain, then we have to own this situation. We have to, hi, Laura. We have to say, okay, just a minute. What is it that we're actually dealing with here? Okay? Own that darkness. It's okay to feel. Be able to feel. Shit, I'm going to run a couple minutes over, but I'm almost done. Okay? I promise. We're doing good. So, how long do you battle the long, dark shadow when it comes around? Stop fighting. That's the first step. The first step is to stop fighting. Hold on. Whoo! Just recognize that there's a fight coming. As soon as you feel that thing come up, you go, whoo! Okay, hold on. Take one breath and take a little step back to say, whoo, hold on. Okay, what's actually happening here? That's the first step. When you're in the dark about something, completely confused or feeling sad, look at it as a gift of insight, not your enemy. These dark, off-kilter moments are your spirit's way of saying, hey, hello, you've disconnected from your goodness and grace. Come back now. See that pain? There's something going on there. Come back to your goodness. Come back to your grace. Come back to, you're a good person. You're enough. Hold on. Give yourself a couple affirmations. Funny that I chose dance the other day, right? Give yourself a couple affirmations and know truly and deeply that you're enough. And give yourself a second. The shadow is not bad. Rather, it is the rejection of the shadow that causes our pain. When we see the shadow and we go, oh no, that's a shadow. That's not mine. I don't know what you're talking about. What? I don't have a shadow. Nope. That is not me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. No. Nope. That is not me. La, la, la. We are not. Okay. It is the rejection of the shadow. Ask yourself instead of doing that, hold space and say to yourself, what is motivating my fear? What am I afraid of? What is motivating my fear? Instead of saying, what am I afraid of? Because that's saying, oh, gosh, what are you afraid of? No. What's motivating? What's motivating my fear? What is making me suddenly feel afraid? Ask yourself, what is causing my pain? Instead of what hurts. What is causing my pain? Is it that this person suddenly, oh no, I think might see my vulnerability? That thing that I've been trying to hide, oh shit, I think they might see it? When something feels bad, then it feels bad. It's okay. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't guilt yourself for not feeling like sunshine, rainbows, and a big cloud of glitter. It's okay. You can't lie to yourself about how you feel. You have to be okay. Take some time to express to your shadow that that you feel. Be open and honest and candid with your shadow. Pretend your shadow is sitting right next to you. Give it a hug. Okay, here we are. I'm going to deal with our shadow right here. Express your sensations of pain, disappointment, even resentment. You can look at your shadow and say, whew, wow, you're really hurting today. I'm afraid that they are maybe seeing our fear. They're seeing that darkness that I've tried to hide. I'm afraid of that. What do you feel about your shadow? What has your shadow done to you? Where have you felt held back in your life? What have you missed out on? Why and how do you feel small in your life? Why and how? Openly express this to your shadow. You don't have to express that to anyone else, but openly express it to your shadow. Gently ask, why are you here? Why have you reared up? Why am I suddenly feeling like, oh no, people can see my shadow sitting here now? Why did you come out to play here? What is it that I'm afraid that people are looking at instead of the me that I think I am? Listen for what the shadow responds. Take some time, meditate around these questions. Can you remember a time when you acted out and were punished? How were your feelings handled in your family? Were you encouraged to express them, or were you told that certain emotions were not nice? A lot of us, when we felt anger, when we showed anger, we were told, oh, that's not nice. We're not allowed to show that expression of emotion. Can you recall a time when you were shut down for expressing your needs? How did that feel? Were your parents affectionate or not? How did it feel when you experienced disapproval from an authority figure? How about when you experienced approval? Which emotions were considered bad in your family? Which emotions were considered good? That's a big one for a lot of people. You weren't allowed to cry. You weren't allowed to yell. You weren't allowed to feel a certain way. How do you express anger, fear, depression, or other so-called negative emotions today? What does your shadow tell you? Why have you been afraid or angry or lonely? Ask your shadow, how have you grown so big? What have I done to help you grow so that suddenly maybe you're taking up more space than what I see myself as? And ask your shadow how you can help them to heal. How can I heal you? What do I need to bring you into the light and to integrate you with who I am? Instead of being this separate thing that I shove down, that I'm afraid of, that I don't want to show, how can I make you just a part of me? Because it's going to be a lot about vulnerability. You're going to hear me say vulnerability is going to be key. We don't like to show our vulnerabilities because we're afraid of we have learned somewhere along the lines that if we are vulnerable, somebody can get in there and hurt us. They can cause us pain. And someone told us at some point, we decided that pain wasn't an emotion, wasn't a feeling that we're allowed to feel. Why? How did that happen? Pain is a part of life. It's okay to feel pain sometimes. It's okay to sit in it. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to say to somebody, wow, you know what? I feel like you may be seeing a side of myself that I've been afraid of, that I try to hide. And so if you're seeing that and I react to you, I'm afraid that I'm going to react poorly. I'm afraid that you're going to react poorly. And I'm afraid of that pain. So I need to sit with this for a while. Give me a minute. Give me a while to really sit within this and figure out, am I reacting, or to be able to really listen to what you're saying to me without reacting by shielding myself or pew or reflecting back at you so that I'm distracting you from seeing this pain, this vulnerability, this openness that I have. Okay? Does that sound okay? Look at the tower card and see what our tower is built of. There should be shadows in our tower. We can't have light without shadow. There is no light without the darkness. So there should be shadows. But is there at least a solid foundation? Is there a foundation within us to say, I'm enough. I am worthy. I try really hard. Sometimes that's all it takes to acknowledge that, you know what? I know I'm not perfect. I'm trying really hard. And I know that I'm going to fuck up. And when I fuck up, I'm going to be able to say, whew, wow, I was not perfect that day. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I was not perfect that day. And I feel that. And somehow I let what happened that day make me reflect something that was not a very good thing. And I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to want to protect our vulnerability. Okay? So, the 2 questions for next week are, I am most judgmental about, and because. It's funny that a lot of times the people in our lives that challenge us the most are challenging us because we see something within them. We see a mirror somehow reflected back at us that we're like, oh, shit. I don't want to look at that because that might remind me of something that I haven't been so great at. And what do I want to heal from? What do I want to heal from? Okay? Continue to be good to yourself. Continue affirmation work. I'm going to continue to post daily affirmations. I know I missed today, but since today was Saturday, I'm forgiving myself for not posting those affirmations. I will probably post tonight or tomorrow morning. I will. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and accept. Try the biggest thing that we can do is try to accept this present moment for exactly what it is. And when we feel pain, know that it's because we're not accepting what is. That's just what is. Whether we like it, we don't like it, it causes us pain, it causes us fear. All that is outside stuff. We just have to say, this is what is. And we accept this as this is what is. Now, how are we going to figure out what to do from here? How do we want our actions to go forward? Not necessarily how do we react to everything. How do we want these actions to move forward? Okay? I love you all so, so much. We probably will, I'm not sure what day yet, I have to kind of look at things, but we probably will go on and do kind of a question and answer, check in, how are things going, somewhere midweek. I'll let you know. I'll create next week's event for now, and then let you know. I will tell you that we are going to go to evenings. All of our sales are going to be in the evenings from here on out. The day sales just don't seem to be going very well. And I think it's, most people are back to work and that kind of stuff. And so it worked better when more people were off of work maybe, but we're going to go to evenings. So it'll be Wednesday and Friday evenings. From now on, our sales. Check in with the page, with the Witchy Wisdom page, Mama Squirrel's Witchy Wisdom. That's where you will find these events. And I love you guys. You are wonderful. Hexen's Live should be coming up next. Love you.